Jacob.
Hey, Dawn.
What's going on?
What's with the umbrella?
Oh, I thought today we could talk about light modifiers.
Oh, it's a shoot-through umbrella. Not an indoor umbrella.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, for your light.
So modifiers like grids,
Yes.
gels,
Yes.
soft boxes.
Yeah, like that.
All right. Well, then let's talk about them.
I hope you all appreciate our cute little skits at the beginning.
That took at least an hour and a half of preparation and 3 script revisions.
It was very intense.
All right, well, let's talk about modifiers then.
Okay, so we talk a lot about how we use off-camera lighting for a lot of our photography jobs. And so I just thought it'd be good. We can go through like all of the different modifiers we use and like when we use them, why we use them, just to give people an idea of what it's all about. And if you can see,
we have a grab bag of crap.
You literally cannot see the floor in this room right now. So how about we start with like our smallest modifier kit?
Especially our most I don't say it's most used, but it's definitely our most...
No, it's our most used.
It's our most used. All right, go ahead.
All right, so we shoot a lot with the 8200 from Godox or Flashpoint or
shout out Godox.
Whatever brand, this model of light. And so, well, you do too. Typically I have it in a bracket like this, which sits on the light stand. The light has holes on the sides, but I never use them. I use this because it's way easier to manipulate it.
And what's great about this is your light will fall, and it has fallen many times. This takes the brunt of it. I have not lost any lights with this, but I've had a couple fall off when I didn't use it.
And these are like $18. So the first thing that we use the most often is like the entire kit of things from Mag-Mod. So what I have around my light, this
shout out Mag-Mod.
Mag Grip. Basically just these two ends have magnets in them, and it slides around the light, and then it lets us
attach anything that they sell.
Yeah, a whole slew of things. Okay, so most common. Oh no.
Ew.
Most common of what I'm using is the sphere.
The sphere, not the. You may hear in the online community, and I'm not gonna lie, we call it too the boob.
Yes.
So if you ever hear someone talking about the boob or the Mag-Mod boob.
I may or may not have had a friend of mine whose small child picked one up the other day and was playing with it and then tried to nurse from it.
That's just a good product.
It's confusing.
Oh, but when I do it, everybody freaked out and I had to go to HR, so it's ridiculous.
No, but anyway, so the Mag Sphere, basically, it does what it looks like it does. It takes the light coming out of the light and then just kind of diffuses it all around in all of these directions, just adding a little bit of softness.
Sometimes it's all you need, especially outdoors when you just want to put a little hint of light in there to fill in shadows, get rid of raccoon eyes. This can go a long way.
Yeah, and that's probably, we use it indoors a lot, but I would never be able to do the freelance weddings that we do where we're shooting by ourselves without this.
Correct.
Because I can't use any other light modifier if I don't have someone to help.
On a wedding, you don't have time to set up a giant rarely do you have time.
Well, if I had an assistant.
Sure.
But when I'm out by myself, I don't. So we use the Mag Sphere, but we often use it in conjunction with some other tools.
So what's cool about this system, since it is magnets, it's all magnets, you could just keep adding it. So this is a grid.
Why do we use a grid, Jacob?
Why do we use a grid? I don't know. So a grid will basically now control. So first, when you just had your BB light, is spreading, right?
Yes.
This is now, I don't know what the technical term is.
Well, it's controlling
the direction. So it's not spreading as further. So think of more the more grids you put on, because you can put on multiple, and I don't have multiple on me right now. But the light, so went from this, every time you put a grid on, you're basically doing this.
So when do you reach for your grid?
When I don't want a bunch of light spill, usually in a darker environment, where I don't want to cause. So if you just put the boob on and maybe shoot 45 degrees off a couple, you're gonna get a big old shadow on the side of them. So if you take that grid, you're gonna start eliminating that shadow because the light is just hitting, let's say, the couple. So that's usually when I'm reaching for grids in that kind of environment. Also great for headshots. when you're, again, trying to control light, you'll see a lot, and we'll show on our little other ones where we have grids on things, where you're trying to control light to here, not spill on backgrounds.
Right, yeah. So that's another time I use it too, is if I'm doing a really quick headshot setup and I don't bring a softbox for the hair light or rim light, I'll put a grid on this so that it doesn't spill on the background, but I can still get a little bit of light like on the back of their shoulders and their hair.
So it's all about control. When you need to control your light and not have it just spill everywhere.
And then if you want to control the direction of your light, but then still soften it a tiny bit, we do the ridiculous combo.
It works though.
But it does. It controls how far the light goes, but it still softens it within the narrower.
Because remember, you're still on essentially a bare bulb right here. So your light is still going to be harsher than with a modifier on there.
Yeah. So these are very utilitarian. We have some other things that are utilitarian, but we start bringing in some color.
Yeah, so same system, but now you can start adding gels, right? So you want to put a blue on there? Boink.
So there's kind of like two lanes with the gels, right? So this would be like a creative gel. Yes. Like this is just to add color.
Yep.
But then there's also gels that you can use to be corrective.
These are just color gels that I have quickly.
So like blue, purple, green, orange, red. So those you might use to light the background. But then there's also corrective gels like
CTO, which is color, temperature, orange. That's what CTO stands for. And they come in different, like you can kind of see, they come in different strengths. This is a quarter, half, and a full CTO. And what's the difference between a CTO and an orange?
Well, there's a lot of saturation difference between the two. But yeah, even a full CTO is probably not even close.
So this is orange right here in my left hand, and this is CTO. You can kind of see the difference. It's not only not just orange, but it's a completely different color temperature. And that's for the purpose of it, because what a CTO does is it basically changes the color temperature of the light to match your background temperatures.
Your ambient lighting. So like I use my gels all the time when I'm doing pictures in like inside a sanctuary of a temple. Almost always those lights are very, very warm. And if I left my lights unmodified, then the background would not match the light on their faces and it would look very unnatural. So we normally put a half CTO on all three of my lights so that all of the light I'm introducing matches the light in the room, and then I just set my white balance to match that same temperature.
Correct. So really you're cooling the...
Yeah, the result is the final image is much cooler than...
In camera, you're cooling your white balance lower than you think you would to modify for this, pumping in that much now orange. And it's really about skin tones.
Right. Yes. Because I'll see other photographers who you can tell they aren't gelling their images because they, in post, are cooling the image so that their skin tones look right, but then the backgrounds look too blue. Yeah. Like it's not matching. Or they go too far and sorry, not that the background looks too cool. They go too far and then the people look too blue in order for the background to look natural.
Correct.
And then you get a little bit of smurfness happening.
And you can fix all this in Photoshop. You can mask them and do this, or in 1 second you put on one of these and it's done, and you don't have to do it in the edit room.
There's also like blue, but not creative blue.
No,
like
this is CTB.
Okay.
This is CTB, which is color temperature blue.
Right. And then there's also one for like matching fluorescent light. So
same concept, is just you're using blue to match and bring out. So sometimes I've used this on beach weddings.
That's what I was just going to say.
And sunset, when there is no sunset and it's actually cloudy and dark, you can put this on and then raise your white balance to a warmer temperature.
Yeah, like 7,000 or something.
And you will get that more...
So basically, you're raising your white balance so that the light coming out of your light with the blue gel on it looks daylight temperature. But then that makes the entire background look warmer. So it looks like you have that warm glow from a sunset. even though you don't.
All right.
Also, sometimes I'll just throw a CTO on a backlight and hit the backlight on the trees to make it look like the sun is hitting the trees with sunset. And
because again, an orange is a much different look than a CTO is.
Right. And same thing. Because it all stacks, you can add a grid to it, you can add the sphere to it. Magmod has a few other ones. They have like a snoot. I forget what it's actually called. Is it just called a snoot?
A snoot.
Which is kind of like a funnel shape.
I do have it. It's over there.
That really, really pinpoints the light. But I don't often find myself with enough time to be that
I usually use it
precise.
if I have enough time for like ring photos when I need a real, like, because it'll create a light source that it's about this big. Mm-hmm. So it's for something that just needs one tiny light hitting it.
But then we have the colored gels too that are just for creative purposes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes if you're in like a really ugly ballroom and you're trying to do cake photos, a colored gel on the wall might make them look a little more interesting rather than whatever, ugly air wall is behind the cake.
And sometimes, like, for receptions, I will say they have blue lights already around the room, but sometimes the DJ's blue lights, like, uplighting isn't powerful enough, and I don't want to raise my shutter or lower my shutter speed anymore. Mm-hmm. I will literally throw a couple of my on-camera flashes around there, like one or two around the room, and put the blue on there, match their color, and then it looks like their photo, like it looks like those are uplighting,
right?
But it was me. Mm-hmm. It was me.
We are in control.
Yeah, and all of this lighting too is not just for Magmod. Like CTOs exist for everything we talk about too. It just happened. This is the first one we use the most.
Yeah, this is just the most convenient for us to use because we're always on the go. We're always shooting pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. So I know you actually even got a question about the picture you showed a couple episodes ago.
That's right, the Tower of Terror one.
Mm-hmm. And you were asked like how long it took you to set that up.
They're like, are your couples really that patient? And I said, yes, but I would never make them wait that long. Mm-hmm. It was that setup probably took 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. The assistant put the light in the background. I went into it knowing what colors I wanted. Mm-hmm. And so I had the backlight already with the gels on it. And then I think I told the story too, but originally I did have a boob and a grid on the couple to spotlight them against it. And I just wasn't digging it. Mm-hmm. And that's when I literally just threw in the other light, just put a blue on it, put it against it. Boom, done. 45 seconds, completely changed the shot.
Yeah.
And looks great.
Yeah. Okay. So these are all the modifiers that we use when the AD200 is in this format.
Correct.
Occasionally, if we're doing something really last minute, I might keep this head on the light, but then still use a shoot-through umbrella.
Ooh, shoot-through.
Even though it's not most effective because the Fresno head on the AD200 doesn't fill the entire softbox or the entire shoot-through umbrella. But like, let's say last minute someone's like, oh, we want to do a group photo with 65 people. Cool.
Right.
They're all lining themselves up and I'm like, crap. And so I just leave the light bare like this and throw a shoot-through umbrella on it. But ideally, for shoot-through umbrella and then any of the other modifiers we're talking about today, I switch to the bulb head on the AD200 because then your light then your light's coming out of all sides of the bulb, which actually allows you to get the full benefit of.
So again,
you can pop it off if you want.
I know, but
you get the full benefit of.
This light is just going to shoot basically in a V from here, right? It's just going to come out and go this way. This light is actually going to go out like a circle, like this. 270
degrees all the way around.
Which is then when you want to add in the other modifiers we're talking about will actually be helpful. So if you put this in one of the other modifiers, it's still just going to kind of shoot out that beam of light, even though you have a giant softbox. Mm-hmm. This will actually fill in that entire softbox.
Right.
If that makes sense, probably not.
Bulb make light go far.
Bulb good.
So the shoot-through umbrella is just, again, when we're doing events and we're not setting up portraits, like, you just have to be quick because you have too many people waiting or the event is waiting for you. And so this is like my kind of down and dirty way to soften the light a bit, give me a little more spread on the light. But there are downsides to using a shoot-through umbrella like this.
So see the light source? So think of this spreading through all this. So you have a bigger light source compared to this.
Some people argue that it's not much different, and I'm like,
it's different.
It's different.
Physics don't lie.
Right. But there are disadvantages, because if your light isn't placed well, or maybe you just don't have enough room, what's going to happen with the shoot-through umbrella is you're going to get flare coming back into your lens.
Yep.
So there is a disadvantage, like I said, in pinch.
Also, if you're shooting by yourself, and we live in Florida, with wild storms that appear out of nowhere,
Yeah.
anything that creates a wind sail on my light that I'm not, or I don't have an assist or a second to hold it, makes me nervous.
Yeah.
So if I'm shooting outside and I don't have anyone else, I will rarely switch to anything but this.
No, I don't really take this out outside unless, like I said, unless I have an assistant.
I have to hold
it.
Basically
if Jacob has to hold it. But it's really handy for those like last minute, or like at a bat mitzvah where they're like, okay, we're doing the all kids photo. I'm not taking out a whole suite of soft boxes and changing my lights and everything. I just need to quickly put the lights up, shoot, put them down, because those kids are not going to wait for the party to keep going. So shoot through umbrella.
Well, here, though, before we switch more, let's talk about, though, like we briefly talked about, the size of your modifier and what that means to your light. So the basic, and I'm going to break this down so simply, but the basic rule is the larger the light source, the closer to the subject. So those two things means a softer light on the person or the subject.
Right, and when we say softer light, we mean like a softer contrast between the bright and shadow.
Less
harsh, yeah. Less defined shadows.
So I always say, like, when you see those beauty ads in magazines and those photos, those are taken with ginormous softbox. And sometimes those softboxes are here, just on the edge of the frame. Because it'll allow all that light to wrap around the face. And it's a huge amount of light. So it's not a tiny little pinpoint of light. It's this light spreading over the entire face. So, and that doesn't mean that's always what you're shooting for. It's just that's the general rule. So if the light is farther away, even if it's big and farther away, think of that light spreading and spreading and spreading, and it's not gonna curve around you. It's gonna hit, and it's gonna cause shadows. So the perfect example is the sun.
Right. That is the
sun is actually a giant light source. It's a
biggest light source
source
ever. However, it is so far away. That's why you get really, really harsh shadows from sunlight, because the distance is causing those harsh shadows.
And then that's why, though, we're talking about this, when a cloud comes over that sun, I mean, you can notice it. Well, all of a sudden, that harsh light becomes
nice and soft
and
pretty.
Soft.
And it's
because you're using
day.
A giant light and a giant modifier. It's still far away, but it's so big that it's still causing that softness.
Yeah. My favorite thing is when I have couples who are disappointed, or family, if I'm doing a family portrait and they're disappointed that it's a cloudy day, and I'm like,
no,
you don't understand.
This is
so great. It's so perfect.
And you're not dying of heat stroke.
Right. So one other
what else we got? Careful, here we go again.
Why is our microphone flickering?
Done. This is all over again. I'm gonna have to edit this one, aren't I?
No, I think it's my turn.
Well, every time you go down to touch something down there, every time you touch this, it's like,
I know, but I'm... Okay.
What else we got?
So I was going to bring up...
Bring me toys. The old reflector.
Okay, so reflectors...
Here, give it to me. Ridiculous.
Reflectors can be used a few different ways. So since we were talking about like clouds... modifying the sunlight.
Yeah.
You can use a reflector to do that as well, or artificial light.
Yep.
But so you can use, these are very standard like 4-in-1, 5-in-1 reflectors. So you can use the white side to bounce the light off of.
See if I can do it in here.
Does it look better on my face?
Nope.
Nope.
It's not the reflector's fault.
Rude. So then we also have gold side. And then if we unzipped this.
See the difference right there, folks? Look at that. Gold.
My shimmering. And then if we took this off and reversed it, we have a silver side and then a black side. And
then even a shoot-through side.
Then, yeah, a panel that is translucent. So you can use this to, like, let's say you're out and you're outside and there's, like, sun coming through a tree that's causing light on your subject. You can put this over their head and block that light coming through.
Yep.
But not block it entirely. Just filter it so it's softened and
you'll see these on...
modified.
These are mostly, like movie sets. Like, they don't use, obviously, modifiers. They have giant lights with giant versions of these that then... Like, giant ones.
Or they just put, like, an entire screen overhead and but diffuse all of the sunlight.
Correct.
Which,
And then we've used this for, too. Sometimes, like, you have a great spot, and it's real specular, where there's a couple, like, it's coming through the trees. This is a great thing where, like, you're not using this as light, but you'll have an assistant block that specular light, so then you look good. So this can be used in many, many different ways.
I was on a shoot the other day at Lou Gardens, and there was another photographer that was using the silver side of the reflector. And let me tell you, if you don't know what you're doing with that, you will blind someone. Like, just walking past, I got right in the line of where her subject was. And it hurt me, and I was like half a football field away.
My vision.
Yeah. So... all right, shall we continue?
Yeah. Look what I got. Since we're going now into softbox mode.
Yeah.
I got a strip softbox. Strip box.
So this I pretty much exclusively use for headshots.
Yeah.
Just for like rim light, hair light.
This gives you, and it's long enough, so sometimes when you use this as your rim light here, you can just get here. This gives you a cutout pretty far down. Good on the shoulders, good on the hair.
And I have this one in particular because I could add a grid to it, but you also don't have to. How's that sound on the microphone?
ASMR is loving this right now.
You can remove the Velcro, remove the grid, and then just have that strip box, which if you use it vertically and you're shooting a single person, you can control the light that way as well.
Yep. So you have one level of modifier right here, which is going to go through and diffuse the light. So it's going to soften the light.
I actually think there are two in there.
Is there a second one in there?
I think there's a second one all the way on the inside.
Yeah, there is. There's another level in there that's right on the light. So it's going through 2 levels of diffusion before even coming out of the box. You'll also notice that if you saw it, there was that metal kind of fabric in there. That's also helping bounce the light coming in, so it actually comes out through all of this.
Which is another reason why using this with the bulb attachment is much more effective, because otherwise... the difference between shooting with this with the Fresno head, you might as well just use the Fresno head with the Mad Grip or Mad Grid, because it's not going to look that different. You're only going to have this much light coming out anyway.
And you can see we have it set up on the same type. This is used for anything.
So this bracket is one that did take a fall, and so I can't get it off of that.
Oh, is that why I just tried
anymore. It won't come off.
I'll get it off.
So it just lives there, which is fine. I just move the light into it. It's totally fine.
And you probably wouldn't use this on like faces because again, you're not getting, since it's coming out as a strip, you're not going to get a good soft quality light over them. This is good for backlights and rim lights, hair lights.
But then if you were shooting faces,
that's right,
you could use a softbox like this. So again, this is meant to have an inner lining as well. I don't have it on, but
ASMR.
So yeah, again, the silver lining on the inside to bounce all that light around, and then there's a space for the inner baffle, and then you've got the outside one, and then like I said, the optional grid. So I'll use this a lot for headshots. I have an even bigger one, like a 30-something inch one that I typically use, but I'll use this one as well depending on what I'm doing. And then this one I have the option to add a grid to it. So I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I was doing headshots for a dance competition, and so we wanted them to be a little more punchy and dramatic, and I was using gels to color the background different colors. So I did use the grid for those headshots, but normally I wouldn't use a grid. I would just, because you just want that softness. And again, this softbox is basically like just out of frame. If you're ever wondering where you're supposed to put a softbox, it is as close.
Start there.
As close as you can be without it being in the picture.
Again, because the closer the light, the bigger the light, the softer the light. Mm-hmm. Now, if she did want something, though, that was like harsh, shadowy, like you're in, I don't know, some like cool, gritty type photo, then you can take the same box and put it here. Mm-hmm. And now you're going to start getting shadows here. And that's none of it is wrong. It's just what do you want?
Right.
Let's keep piling up. What else do we have left? What else you got over there?
I'm fresh out.
Uh-oh.
You've got one left, I think.
Uh-oh. Oh, God. I think I just turned on the light switch. Make way.
Watch it, watch it, watch it.
I got it. I got it.
It got so dark.
Now this is a softbox.
So, yeah, this
You want it soft? This will get you soft. Wait. I think I can say that. We'll cut that up. I broke her.
I can't believe
So anyway.
Anyways, how big do you think this one is?
At least 14 feet. 70 inches.
Yeah, so this one is for when you really, really need some soft light. Mm-hmm. So we've been using this for some studio sessions with families.
I mean, this is window light. You can put this, when window light is not enough, this just recreates a gorgeous window light.
Yeah, I was doing a brand session and it's for a health coach. So we were using her kitchen for her like prepping smoothies and stuff. And she has beautiful window light coming in, but we started the shoot at 7:30 in the morning.
Right.
And so I just set this up literally right in front of the windows until it was light enough. And you couldn't tell that there was a light on her. It was just nice and soft. The shadows fell off so nice and soft. Because it's gigantic. The
difference between this one, too, is, and like those other ones are technically like a shoot through.
Yes.
This is a bounce. So this actually fires into this. Mm-hmm. So your first diffusion is actually hitting this. So this is your first line of diffusion, and then it comes back this way. And then we don't have it on there because it would be too hard to learn. But there is another giant, this, but it's meant to go around this.
Yeah, like the scrim.
The whatever you want to call
baffled.
it. Yeah,
I don't know what they're called. Yeah.
And this thing is heavy. You can't tell, but my arm hurts and I'm sweating.
And I once made Jacob hold this out in the elements.
And I will never forgive
So
her.
The reason we used it on that one shoot outside was because it was for someone's...
Sorry.
It was for someone's 50th birthday, and I wanted it to be as soft and gentle of a light as I possibly could.
Correct.
And the lighting looked freaking amazing, but it was a challenge because it happened to be a mildly windy day.
And I am just holding it by hand.
Jacob was like crouched on the ground holding. But it looked really great.
It did look good.
But yeah, for like the studio sessions we've been doing, it's perfect for that.
And like I said, this is the kind of softbox you'll see in a lot of beauty ads, commercial beauty stuff, because this is going to give you just the softest light you'll ever see. So
one thing I was going to mention, at least it used to work this way. Now I don't know how useful it is, but I used to study pictures in magazines to try to figure out what the lighting was.
How they got that shot.
Yeah,
Hashtag.
so like looking at the catch lights in the person's eyes, you can see like, oh, there was a circular modifier here. There was this here. Like you could literally see it in their eyes. And the reason I say I don't know how useful that but that method is now for like identifying lighting is because there are editing programs where you literally can add catch lights in a person's eyes. So it's not exactly 100% useful
because
now, but
people look dead without catch lights.
They do. Which is why sometimes, even though lighting is decent outside, I would still prefer to use light to fill in the little bits under their eyes and have those catch lights. But
do I still have to hold this?
You can put it down.
Where?
No, No, you're going to take out the whole set.
All right, keep talking.
Okay, so...
Look at me. I can do this myself. I'm too proud.
So, yeah, you can look at the catch lights and see, where the different modifiers were and how close the lights were, how many lights there were on a person's face at least. And there is one more modifier I use, and actually I sometimes use the reflector for this too.
Yours is broken down though. It's not that bad.
It's not that big to carry around. I don't know why you complained about it so much.
First off, ma'am.
So sometimes I use a reflector for this, or 2 reflectors. But there's also one more that's over there. So if you want to grab that one too. The highlighter. This one might also be challenging to bring in. But basically it's a curved reflector that you would put in front of someone, like right under their face, to bounce the main light back in and like fill in some of the shadows under their chin and under their eyes and nose and stuff.
This has become pretty popular recently.
Yeah. So mine isn't the official eyeliner brand. It's a like a third party.
But brand, usually it was like a headshot. This person would stand literally kind of where a microphone is. Mm-hmm. You just kind of curve this up and fills in.
And bounce. So your main light would bounce down onto this and then fill in the shadows on their face. It's really flattering. Yeah. But if I either can't manage this because I can't get it inside along with all the other stuff by myself or whatever, I will also just sometimes put a regular reflector, white side, up right below the person's face.
Goes a long way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like the cluttered desk look.
Do we miss anything?
I don't think so.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, so those are all the different modifiers that we use.
Do we miss anything?
Why we use them?
Do you have any more questions about them?
Oh, we didn't say I said that you could have flare coming back when you use an umbrella, but you eliminate that when you use a softbox because this is blocking the light from coming back to your camera. Unless you've really got it feathered towards you, this is blocking that, so you don't have to worry about it. So that's kind of a determining factor in whether you might want to use an umbrella, a shoot-through umbrella versus a softbox. So.
All right.
Cool.
What'd you shoot this week with all this crap?
Well, I had a very busy week.
I did not.
So I had 2 weddings. One of them was on the yacht Starship out of Clearwater. So it was a very long drive, and it was very early. We started in the bride's hotel room at 7:30 in the morning. But it was a super easy day. They were really chill. They just wanted some pictures on the beach near their hotel. They just wanted a few pictures of them on the boat. They just mostly wanted to have fun with their family. It wasn't both of their second marriages, which I know is your favorite. But I think maybe one of them it was a second marriage.
I like it.
Yeah. Because again, it was like one of those ones where they didn't want all the extra fluff. Like at one point, we had extra time at the hotel before we needed to get to the yacht. And the bride was like, listen, I want to go to the bar. You can just go. And I was like, all right, see you on the boat.
Love that.
It was 10 a.m. I was like, hey, it's your wedding day.
Yeah.
So I had that one. And then I had another one at Paradise Cove, which... It was my first time doing a wedding at Paradise Cove that was just the ceremony. I didn't realize how many weddings in a day Paradise Cove can do. Because our ceremony...
It's more than 2?
Our ceremony was at 9, and the coordinator's like, yeah, we have another one coming in at 10:30. And I was like, what? So, yeah, they I think maybe weekday mornings or afternoons, they stack them.
All right.
So it was just the ceremony, and I got a full hour for newlywed portraits, and I was like, I don't know what to do for an hour. But we used 45 minutes of it, and because Paradise Cove isn't that big, and there's the beach area, there's the dock.
I can give you about 35 minutes tops, and then you're just gonna start seeing the same stuff in a different location.
But yeah, they were great too, super chill. But yeah, we did do 45 minutes, and then we went somewhere else for lunch and just some pictures at the lunch reception.
If they're not going to do
spot.
reception there, that makes sense. They'll stack multiple weddings.
Yeah. So I had another day where I was continuing to do headshots for the police department, and then I had 2 different family portraits. They were both families who had traveled in for Passover, and so they had me meet them at their resort.
That's right.
Where they were staying.
Yeah.
I had no idea how many resorts in Kissimmee and Davenport
it's the whole
sounded exactly the same.
And look the same, are the same.
And I felt so bad, too, because the one family was like, oh, have you been there before? I was like, yeah, I have. One was named Solavita, one was Solterra, one was Solera, and I was like, I didn't realize these weren't all the same thing.
It's basically the Bella of photography.
Yeah. I was getting so mixed up, like, basically I was just like, okay, let's meet at the clubhouse. Everyone meet at the clubhouse wherever you are. So, had that, and then I started the brand shoot that I mentioned in a previous episode that I was prepping for, so we had 2 of our 3 sessions. Last week we did one day, she's a health coach, so one day at the tennis courts and one day at the farmer's market. So, just a light week.
I didn't do literally.
You had good reason, though.
Yeah, well, my daughter got into acting and plays, and it was the middle school play, and she's still in elementary school, but she got selected to be in the chorus or the, ensemble, if you will. To the middle school play as a elementary school. So it was a big deal. So I booked off that time to make sure to go to, they added a 4th performance.
Oh, wow.
So I wanted to be free for all of them.
It's a lot for an elementary school kid.
Well, it was due to volume. It was supposed to be 3 performances.
Wow.
And they were like, let's add a 4th. So.
Very cool.
So I spent the entire week and weekend doing that. Nothing.
Cool.
I mean, I still had I internally write I'm not available, because if I don't write in my schedule that I'm not available, I will book it because I am an idiot.
Right.
So I have to be like, no, this is here, don't do this.
Yeah.
And I still could have taken something in the morning.
Right.
But just nothing popped up. I had a few things pop up for the evening, and I was like, nope.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't even just the evening. Like, you had to be there as soon as she was home from school to help, start getting her ready and everything. Because we did record an episode one of those days. But we only did it in the morning, so. So,
it was one of those things that sometimes, dad rules are better than job rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. All right. So, tell me, sir.
Yes.
What are you currently obsessed with?
Well, this is a long-term obsession, but I just watched it again, and hear me out. It's the best teenage comedy film of all time.
Okay.
10 Things I Hate About You. Starring...
It is a good one.
Julia Stiles, the late, great Heath Ledger, and a bunch of other people. But, no. That movie still holds up. Like, I just watched it again. Man, is it funny. It's great acting, great dialogue. It doesn't suffer from, weird... that was...
A product of its time.
It is. You can say it's early 2000s, or late 1999 or whatever it was. But, for the most part, it still holds up. The only thing that probably doesn't hold up is when the high school girl flashes her the teacher to get out of detention.
That's not a good look.
I was like, and the fact that the teacher doesn't go, no. He's like, well, okay. But the rest of it, and obviously it's based on Shakespeare, Taming of the Shrew, if you didn't know. So and then there's so many Shakespeare references in there. Their names, Verona, and all the other Shakespeare stuff. So much so that I just found out literally yesterday they announced they're making a 10 Things I Hate About You musical on Broadway.
That's fun.
That's going to debut in 2026.
So I guess they're writing, they have to write music for it.
Yeah.
There was only the one song in the movie.
They better play that song.
They better.
But from, the I still quote some of the jokes now, and no one ever gets it. But when the dad is really getting mad at her for going out, and he's like, what is with you kids and those damn Dawson's River kids sleeping in each other's beds? I say that. I've been saying that for 30 years, and it still makes me laugh. Damn Dawson River kids sleeping in each other's beds. I know it's cool. I'm hip.
I need you to say that to one of your kids.
I do it all the time. Oh, you damn Dawson's River kids. But the like even the end when like she's hurt, like that scene when she's like when she gives that poem about how she doesn't hate him at all, she actually likes him. That's actually pretty sad. Like there's some actual emotion in there.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't disagree.
We should watch it.
I think I watched it. It's been within the last 2 years because it's on Disney Plus, I think.
Is it? I own it, so.
Yeah, because I think I was like trying to get through some admin work or like mindless work of some sort, and I was like, I just need something in the background to hold my attention enough where I don't stop what I'm doing to like go look at YouTube or something. And so I was scrolling through Disney Plus. I think it's on there. It's on one of the streaming platforms because I watched it.
If someone ever rings my doorbell or knocks on my door, I'll go like, that must be Nigel with the Brie. Because that's the same, the party at Bogey Lowenstein's house. He's like, that must be Nigel with the Brie. I'll say it every time, and people are just, what? And no one knows what it is. I know what it is, and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
But then...
It's a good cast, too.
It's a fantastic
it's not
cast.
just the two of them.
Yeah.
Like, the whole cast is good.
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, very young. Larissa Olenek, who, spoiler, major crush on when I was, because we're the same age.
I was just going to say Joseph Gordon-Levitt was...
Yeah. The kid from, I don't know, he's been in a bunch of stuff, I don't know. But obviously Heath Ledger was fantastic in it. And it makes me sad. Every time I watch a Heath Ledger movie, I'm just like, ugh. He's so good at everything.
I know. I was just scrolling this morning while I was eating breakfast, and I saw a short basically criticizing Save the Last Dance, which Julia Stiles was also in. And
I'm not obsessed with that.
That was like one of our favorites, and like the song from sorry, the softbox is falling.
Can I lose something for you?
The song from like one of the songs from that movie was like our anthem for track and cross country. Like we played that every single meet. So it was like a big deal when I was in high school. But watching that video, I was like, yeah, this didn't age well. Maybe it never was good. And I just was blind to all of the problems with it.
We're all obsessed with Julia Stiles. But this is specifically 10 things I hate about you.
Yeah.
Or like anytime I meet someone named Kat.
Oh.
When the guidance counselor, I'll go, Kat. And they're just like, what? I think I did it. Have you ever been on the Bourne stunt show at Universal Studios? Like because she was in the Bourne Identity, she does the pre-show.
Oh, uh-huh.
And when she comes on, I'll go, Kat. And like my wife will laugh, and then everyone else is like,
no one else.
Sir, can you please leave?
Please stop interrupting our show.
Cat.
Well, my obsession is also movie related.
Ooh.
So we talked about Epic Universe.
Yeah.
Coming up.
We both go in very, very short time.
And so, to prep for Epic Universe, sounds like it's raining, but it's not. To prep for Epic Universe, we watched all 3 of the How to Train Your Dragon movies. Also, did you know how many different TV shows there were of How to Train Your Dragon?
I have not watched a single How to Train Your Dragon anything.
Well, we hadn't either until like 2 weeks ago.
I've consumed 0 dragon media.
I didn't know. I mean, I think it just came out at a time where like it wasn't of interest with the age that I was.
My kids were too young. Like it came out, my kids were infants.
Like, and so. I was an adult.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm a grown man that just watches 10 Things I Hate About You over and over again.
Right. But that's the thing, like it wasn't like it was out when we were kids. Like it came out at a weird time. I had no reason to see it. But now like I want to
I'm so hungry.
I want to appreciate Epic Universe. So we decided to go ahead and watch them. And I've got to say, they are really good. Like, they actually are really good movies. And I think it's the best set of animated movies where, like, the quality from movie to movie was consistent.
Okay.
Like, how many Disney animated movies you watch the first one, and then, like, the second and third one are like, y'all should have just stopped.
Aladdin 3 is fantastic.
Lion King 1.5.
Yeah.
Really?
That's actually not bad. I didn't watch it.
Really bringing it in.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, the first one, really good. The second one, we were like, wow, that was really good. And then the third one, I mean, it's incrementally dropped off, but like how many times can you write movies about Scottish people or Vikings and
Is that what
dragons?
It's about? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a Viking village, and they thought they were fighting the dragons until the chief's son
They're just best
realized that they don't need to fight against the dragons. So, but like, how many different storylines can you come up with that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought they're really good. So now I'm like even more excited to see all of the animatronic dragons and like go meet them and just be in like the Isle of Berk, because that's the land that they live in the movie. So yeah, it's my current obsession. And there's a live action.
Yeah, let's say this summer, a live action version.
I know. So now I'm like ready and excited. Although I think the live action is just going to be the first movie.
It's just a retell. It's just shot for shot remake. It's like The Lion King.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I'm intrigued only because like
But the land is based on the animated series though.
Yes. And it's interesting because I feel like it's based on like the first and second movie with like a teeny dropping of the third. But like if you were totally going by the world from the third, then everything that's in the land wouldn't make sense.
Spoiler alert.
Like, you have any idea what I'm saying?
I'm watch it tonight.
No, you're not. But yeah, I had no idea too. There were so many whatchamacallit, TV shows too, and some big people in it. Like
name 3.
Kristen Wiig is one of the.
Kristen Wiig.
Of course, I'm totally blanking on everyone else's names.
You did watch this.
I did, but I'm not good at that. But I was surprised at who else was on the cast.
She's one of what? She's a dragon?
No, she's one of the... No, the dragons don't talk.
Okay.
She was one of the Vikings. She's a really annoying Viking.
Oh.
Very, very annoying. The only thing is the guy...
2010. Good Lord. Mm-hmm. It's 14 years old?
Uh-huh. Nope. Sir.
15 years old? It's got Gerard Butler.
Mm-hmm.
It's got McLevin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's Kristen Wiig.
Mm-hmm. She has a twin in the movie, and they constantly fight with each other, and it's pretty funny.
Well, it's got the other guy from Knocked Up too, Jay Baruchel.
Mm-hmm.
And Jonah Hill. Was it the cast of Superbad and Knocked Up in How to Train Your Dragon?
That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Oh, oh gosh, what's her name?
America Ferrera.
In the second movie, oh my gosh, not Catherine Zeta-Jones. I always mix their names up. Hold on. Please hold. Don't leave. IMDb.
You know what's better? 10 Things I Hate About You.
Train Your Dragon 2.
10 Things
Kate Blanchett. I always say their names, mix up their
We're
names.
getting some Oscar winners in there, apparently.
So, anyways, yeah. It's current obsession.
Cool. Not going to watch it.
Okay.
Just going to go to the universe and just see it.
Go see the dragons. Yeah. Okay.
I have to take all this stuff out of here. Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Oh, no.